What if, right now, the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Everything we know about life, physics, and survival would be turned upside down in an instant. This terrifying scenario is more than just science fiction, and the consequences are beyond imagination. Every moment of every day, you are hurtling through space at an incredible velocity. Right now, as our planet pirouettes on its axis, the ground beneath your feet is moving at over 1,600 kilometers per hour, faster than the speed of sound. This silent, constant motion is a legacy of our solar system's birth, a cosmic dance dictated by the conservation of angular momentum from a swirling cloud of gas and dust billions of years ago. Yet we feel nothing. Much like a passenger on a jumbo jet cruising at 900 kilometers per hour, we are completely oblivious to the speed. That's because everything, the air we breathe, the oceans, the very continents, is moving along with us in a shared, stable frame of reference. It's the most fundamental and reliable constant of our existence. But what if it wasn't? What if this planetary engine, this silent guardian of our world's stability, were to suddenly, inexplicably grind to a halt? We're not talking about a gradual slowdown over eons, a process our planet has undergone before. We're talking about an instantaneous planetary-wide emergency brake. If the Earth stopped spinning, even for a single second, the world as we know it wouldn't just end, it would be scoured from existence in a maelstrom of unimaginable force. The results would be nothing short of apocalyptic. To understand the sheer violence of this event, let's scale it down. Imagine you're in a high-speed train, rocketing forward at 300 kilometers per hour. If that train instantly hit an immovable wall, the train itself would stop. But your body wouldn't. Thanks to inertia, Newton's first law of motion, you would continue moving forward at 300 kilometers per hour, launched through the cabin. Now multiply that speed by 5, and apply it to everything on the planet. When the Earth's solid crust abruptly stops, the atmosphere, the oceans, and every single thing not fused to the deep bedrock would continue their eastward journey at 1,600 kilometers per hour. In that first catastrophic second, a supersonic wind would scour the globe. This isn't a storm, it's a planetary-scale sandblaster, instantly pulverizing every building, forest, and mountain into dust. The immense friction would ignite the very air, creating a global firestorm. But the air would be the least of our worries. The world's oceans, untethered from the seafloor, would rise up in a single, continuous wave. These would not be tsunamis as we know them. They would be walls of water miles high, washing over entire continents at supersonic speeds, erasing coastlines and carving new canyons in a matter of minutes. Everything we have ever built, everything we have ever known, would be violently swept away in a final, devastating act of physics. If the Earth stopped spinning instantly, everything on the surface would keep moving eastward at immense speeds. Buildings would collapse, oceans would surge out of their basins, creating mega-tsunamis hundreds of meters high. Trees, cars, people, all thrown violently across the land. The atmosphere would also continue moving. This means winds faster than the speed of sound would tear across the globe, flattening entire landscapes. But the chaos doesn't stop there. The immediate effects are just the beginning of a planetary transformation. Without Earth's rotation, we'd lose the centrifugal force that slightly bulges the planet at the equator. Think of it like a spinning top. The spin pushes the middle outwards. For Earth, this force has created a permanent bulge, making the planet's diameter about 42 kilometers or 26 miles, wider at the equator than from pole to pole. Once the spin ceases, gravity would be the only force shaping our world. The planet would begin to relax into a more perfect sphere. This geological shift would be catastrophic for the oceans. The water, no longer held in a belt around the planet's bulging waistline, would be free to redistribute according to this new spherical shape. It would seek the new lowest points on the planet, the poles. The oceans would rush toward the poles in a global tsunami of unimaginable scale, creating two enormous polar oceans. Meanwhile, the equatorial regions would drain completely, exposing the seafloor and creating a single, massive supercontinent girdling the planet's new waistline. Regions like northern Canada, Siberia, and most of Europe would be submerged under kilometers of water. Conversely, the Amazon rainforest in Indonesia would become a high-altitude arid plateau. The world map would be rewritten not with ink, but with the entirety of Earth's oceans. With the planet no longer spinning on its axis, our 24-hour day would vanish. Instead, one day would last an entire year. The Earth would still orbit the sun, meaning one hemisphere would face 6 months of continuous scorching sunlight, while the other would be plunged into 6 months of freezing darkness. On the day side, temperatures would soar, boiling away any remaining surface water and baking the land into a sterile desert. On the night side, the deep freeze would be so intense that the atmosphere itself could condense and fall as nitrogen snow. The only potentially habitable area would be a narrow terminator zone, a band of perpetual twilight slowly creeping across the globe, where temperatures might permit liquid water. But even in this twilight zone, life would be doomed. The extreme temperature difference between the two hemispheres would generate terrifying, permanent winds hundreds of miles per hour, scouring the surface. Worse still, the engine of our planet's protection would fail. Earth's rotation drives the liquid iron in its outer core, generating our magnetic field. Without that spin, the dynamo would die. Our shield against deadly solar wind and cosmic radiation would vanish, allowing the sun to strip away our atmosphere and irradiate the surface. Under these combined assaults, floods, extreme temperatures, cataclysmic winds, and lethal radiation, most ecosystems and crops would collapse. Earth would become a silent, barren rock, a ghost of the vibrant world it once was. The Earth's rotation also powers its magnetic field. Without it, this shield protecting us from deadly solar radiation would fade away. Solar winds would strip away the atmosphere over time, leaving the planet exposed, dry, and uninhabitable, much like Mars. Gravity itself wouldn't change, but the redistribution of oceans and mass would trigger endless earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, reshaping the planet completely. In the end, after exploring the cascading chain of cataclysms, the conclusion is inescapable. If the Earth were to suddenly halt its rotation, our world wouldn't just change, it would be annihilated. The very laws of physics that govern our existence would become our executioner. The immense kinetic energy of the spin, unleashed in an instant, would scour the surface with unimaginable force, triggering global earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on a scale we can't even fathom. Life as we know it would cease in mere moments. This thought experiment reveals a profound truth. Our existence hinges on a delicate cosmic ballet. The fragile balance that makes our planet a haven for life isn't a static condition, it is a dynamic process, a constant rhythmic motion. This rotation is the unseen architect of our world. It generates the magnetic field that shields us from deadly solar radiation. It drives the ocean currents and the Coriolis effect that shapes the weather patterns, distributing heat and sustaining ecosystems across the globe. It gives us the steady, life-giving cycle of day and night, a rhythm so fundamental that it's encoded into the DNA of nearly every living thing. Without this constant, gentle turning, our world would be a chaos of fire, floods, and endless storms, with one side frozen in perpetual darkness and the other scorched by an unblinking sun. Planetary scientists emphasize that this stability is the exception, not the rule, in the universe. We live on a world perfectly tuned by its rotation. So the next time you feel a gentle breeze, watch a sunrise, or simply stand still and feel the solid ground beneath your feet, remember the silent engine driving it all. The next time you look up at the vast, star-dusted canvas of the night sky, take a moment to appreciate the quiet, constant, and utterly essential spin of our planet. It's not just a feature of our world, it is the very pulse of life itself, a silent guardian in the vast emptiness of space, turning chaos into a home.